Alright, well children, this might actually be the last video in this series. I'm not sure yet while I'm recording this, but we'll see how it goes. So, alrighty. What we're going to implement this time is we're going to implement the hitting and gaining points whenever you hit the other character, and I think that's probably going to be it. So let's see how that works. Well, that is the hitboxes that I was talking about in the very beginning, if you remember, and I can quickly just Google hitboxes Street Fighter in case you guys have no idea what I'm talking about anymore because you're completely exhausted making all these awesome Street Fighter like games. So here you got hitboxes. So the red stuff, whoa. Yeah, whenever he does this attack, the green stuff is when you can hit him, the right stuff is where he's hitting somebody else at. And we're only going to do the right stuff. You can figure out the green stuff by yourself because it's the same technique. Alright. Here we go. Oh, jeez. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Boss! Okay, that was a little bit weird. So for a hitbox, the way you do this with Game Maker, I'm not sure if I tried this. I could give it a quick try though, but the way I do it with Street Fighter game and how I did it last time is by you duplicate the sprite you have for the sponge, and we're gonna call this one scan LPHB. And we're going to edit that sprite, and basically we don't need none of this because he's vulnerable in there, you know, not part of the hitbox. We do need the extended fist though, and not this. So for our hitbox, this is a sprite that we can use, and we can use the built-in collision system really easily. Only one really important thing here. We need precise collision checking with separate collision masks. I wish we could go without the precise collision checking, but you can't toggle this thing on without toggling this thing on, and we do need the separate collision masks because we don't want any, you know, hitboxes here. We do want one here. We don't want one here. And if we put it like this, you know, there's a hitbox everywhere, even if there's nothing in there. All right. So it kind of sucks. And I've tried out, you know, I wanted to do it without the sprites, but if I put a blank image in there like this and I try to draw something, like make it manual and go like, all right, 50, let's do a rectangle or something, yeah. You know, see, it just reverts to this thing again immediately. So I don't think there's a way to do it. If you can find a way, hey, good for you. Go with it. It would be better if Game Maker will allow you to do collision in other ways as well. Of course, you can always just write your own collision code entirely and just program things manually. But I think this is an easy way to do it. So I just went with it. All right. So that's going to be my hitbox, and we're going to make an object for the hitboxes as well. I'm just going to call it OHB so we don't have to type it too much. And this is just going to be empty at this point. All right. So, or actually might as well call it, I don't think we're going to have to type it that much. I'm going to call it O hitbox, just to make sure it doesn't get too confusing. So, all right, how is this going to work? Well, we're going to go to our O player, and we're going to go to the code that launches the attack. All right, and actually, now that I think of it, the entire projectile Hadouken is going to need one as well. So we're going to give it a hitbox as well. Done. And I think at this point in time, we want to have collision for every character. So this is something we want to do for every sprite, really. Because if we use less precise hitboxes, and you know, your computers are going to be able to run this. Here we go. Yeah, Game Maker is not an ideal engine to make very, very complicated fighting games for this reason, unless you're going to add your own code to it. You can always write an extension as well. Maybe somebody already has. So when we set the sprite in the state, we want to summon a hitbox, and you already know how this works. It's the same code as we use for the projectile, basically. So we create a hitbox, the owner, the sprite, the scale, all the stuff. It's exactly the same stuff you've seen already. Okay. So now when we do this, we're going to have a hitbox in there. Of course, if we run the game now, we're going to see the fist hanging in the air still. I mean, that's what I would expect, at least. So let's see if it actually does it that way. All right, so bunch. See, we got a flickering fist. So now I'm drawing all these crazy fists. It's like doing a 100-hand slap or something. So I'm gonna go to hitboxes, and we're gonna create and set some variables. I'm gonna copy this thing over because it's fairly straightforward. Think you all, oops, that's gonna come up in a second. So, why is he doing that? That's so strange. Yeah, okay, GameMaker doesn't want to work with me, I guess. So, create, and we're going to declare and set some variables. All right. And, well, think you already know what I'm going to put in there. Yep, image speed, first thing we need. All right, done with that. Next up, our step event. Basically what we want is we want to kill the animation as soon as the instance has run its course. And you've done this before as well. So I'm just gonna copy over the code. Again, it's like when the image index, it's image number -1, we destroy the instance. It's the same as the fireball. Alright? And then we're gonna have to put in the collision. So when we're colliding with player OP1 and with player OP2. So when we're colliding with player 2, we're gonna do a debug message. Player 1 got hit. Alright. And on player 1, we're gonna do a debug message. Player 2 got hit. Alright. And obviously this is code that we want to copy for the projectile as well, but right now we're just gonna do the punch. Because we want to see if our hitboxes work. So I'm moving over here, punch. Player 1 got hit, player 2 got hit, player 1 got hit, player 2 got hit. Why is it doing this? Why is player 1 getting hit? Well, it's because the hitbox itself is also colliding with player 1 at the same time. So one thing we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to check that we're not player 1. So if object, you know what? I'm just gonna copy over some code real quickly so I don't make any mistakes. So if our owner is not the P1, and now you see why that owner function was used, so we can see where we come from. Then we can do show debug message. P2 hit, baby. All right, and we can copy this thing over to player 2 as well, obviously. But I'm not gonna. Why not? Yeah. At some point you start to do dumb stuff in game, or you know, stuff in GameMaker that is pretty straightforward. And so now only player 1 is getting hit, I guess. Wait. All right. All right. And when we move over here, and we do the insert, P2 hit, and okay. So yeah, I've got my things mixed up, but the thing basically works. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna put in the proper code, because if our owner is P1, it's not P1. Actually, I put the code for player 2 in, so yeah, that was the code for player 2. It should go in here. Player 1. So when when the hitbox collides with player 1, player 2 gains a point and the hitbox is destroyed. So the code that goes in here is if owner is not player 1, player 2 gets a point and the instance is destroyed. Alright. And we're going to put the same code in here, but except this time, whenever we're hitting player 2, player 1, oh yeah, I can't copy this stuff. Oh man, I'm messing this video. I'm sorry guys. Look, I'm going to do it properly. So in OP2, I'm going to drop the code. Player 1 gains a point and the hitbox is destroyed. So if owner is OP2, then OP1 points plus -1, instance destroyed. Alright. So that's what it looks like. Let's see if this works. So player 1 walks over, hits the guy, and we have a bug. Hey, that's weird. I thought, oh, variable OP1 not set before reading it. That's strange. I thought we already set the points. in a common variable at the beginning of the video. Oh, I must have, yeah, I must have deleted that video. Something must have gone wrong. So set the points variable. Sorry, that one's on me. So we're going to set a variable here for points in the create event of both OP1 and OP2. I thought that was already there. Guess it wasn't. So for OP2 as well, common variables. You can put it in there wherever you like. And that will take care of that error. Alright, player 1 is moving up and punching player 2. Nothing happens. It's kind of weird. Did I forget to put the debug message in there? Totally forgot that, right? Alright. So, let's open up the hitbox. I don't think I need these at this point in time, so I'm just going to close them. So, yeah. I'll just do show debug message. Or actually, I can just put that in the... Oh, and I'm overriding this thing here. This actually needs to... No. Scratch that. So, show debug message. P1 dot points. So this will show us whatever's in the points variable that's attached to OP1. Alright. Moving up. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gaining points for punching him. Violent video game. Alright. But our fireball will still not increase our points. So that's fine. We can put that code in here because it's basically just a copy paste from this thing. So we go to projectile and we can just do select this, copy event. I'm not sure if he actually copied it, so let's try again. Copy event, paste, copy event, and paste. Now you could put, you know, write a script and just address a script in there, but at the end you're still going to have to copy some stuff. Also, you might want to have a fireball do 2 damage instead of 1. I don't know. I mean, fire hurts way more than a punch. Alright. So we got all that. I think the last thing that we need to do is just put all this stuff on screen. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's open our player object. And in the player object, and this is the final bit that I wanted to address in this tutorial series. In the player object, or no, actually we don't need the player object because we're gonna have different values for both of them, and we could do it from the player object, but it makes more sense for me to do it down here. So we're gonna use one of the draw functions. Draw GUI, okay? Because we're gonna put text on a screen for the first time, and we're gonna use Arial for it, maybe Arial Black really. So F Arial is gonna be our font name, and we can just assign Arial Black to it. Alright, and we're going to put it at a size of 12, so this all looks pretty good. The anti-aliasing, so anti-aliasing basically means things get a little bit blurrier so they look nicer on screen. We want everything to be really crisp because it's a pixel game, so let's just turn that thing off. Alright, no anti-aliasing. Excuse me. So we're going to set up some code. And we're basically just going to draw that points list. And draw GUI, if you look at the events, draw, see if we can get them, draw actions, there we go. No, this is not what I wanted. I wanted to draw events. Alright, index, events. So GameMaker has a bunch of draw events that basically override everything that's in your sprite, but you can draw your own stuff on screen in these events. And there's a lot of information on when things are drawn, so if you're making something more complicated, you want to look into this. You have a draw begin and end, a GUI begin and GUI end, and we're going to use GUI, which stands for Graphical User Interface, in case you're unfamiliar with this thing. So this is basically the interface that you have on screen. You know, like on a shooter, you see your health in there. In SimCity, you can click and drag buildings from there. So, and we're going to put some code in there. And well, this is really straightforward code, so I'm going to copy this and I'm just going to run you through it. Alright, so first we need to set the GUI size relative to the room, and this is actually the trickiest bit of it all. If you don't do this, the letters will be huge because it will be towards your screen resolution. So display set GUI size to room width, room height. If you use views, you probably want to change this to the dimensions of your views, okay? Draw fonts. Actually, I should take a note of that. And I have taken a note of that. Haha, I'm the fastest note taker in the land. Alright, then we set the font to Arial. We set the shadow color to red. We draw the text. And, you know, we use OP1 points in there. So draw text transform will basically at X6 and Y6, it will draw the string of OP1 points. Now, OP1 points is actually a real in GameMaker. It's an integer, whatever you pronounce that thing in English. And so this is the actual number, not the letters, and you want to convert it to letters for drawing text. So that's why the strings thing is there. And then you have some additional options. 1 is the X scale, Y is the Y scale. We don't need that, and 0 is the angle. Don't need that either. Actually, we don't need draw text transform. We could have just used draw text. Whatever. Alright, so we're going to draw a red score for player 1. And then we're going to draw a yellow score for player 1. Just 1 pixel up and 1 pixel left, so we get a nice 3D effect. That's how it's going to work for player 1. Alright. Try that out. So as you can see now, you've got that 0 on the top of your screen. And if I move up to player 2, bunch them, that value will change exactly the same way it did in the compile window earlier. So we got our score almost working. Because player 2 needs that thing for himself as well, obviously. That's what they're fighting about. They basically want to have the nicest looking score markers. So we're going to put the draw GUI in here as well. And our action is going to be slightly, but very slightly different. So this is what it's going to look like. Instead of, you know, we could just use XY because we're going from the left, but for this one we're coming in from the right. So we need to compensate for the string width. For the width of, we can do room width minus the reference point is in the upper left corner, minus the string width as well. So that's what's happening here. Room width minus string width of O2 points. And yeah, that's basically all there is to it, guys. I think, you know, I might actually be done here. Is that all there was to that game? Hadouken's doing punches, jumping, can jump over you, yep. And then the other guy walking about, doing, he goes to the right and then hits himself. So, how would I ever solve that thing? I have no idea. Well, obviously I do. So we just go to the step event and we fire a tree, but instead of going right, we go left. So that means 180 there instead of 0. If you've paid attention, you figured that out way before I did, or probably at exactly the same time. So let's run it again, because I'm not going to leave you on a game that's not working on my screen. So player 2 is walking the boot. Let's go all Canadian on this. Punching. Fireball. Points going up. Player 2 can jump. And there you have it. Ultimate Hadouken X 6 Turbo. Alright. Well, this was a lot of fun for me. I hope you had a lot of fun as well. And I hope you're going to enjoy doing those advanced goals. And if anybody makes a full Street Fighter by himself with this code, and you show me the source code, and you have every character and every special move in there, you get an A, and you don't have to come to class anymore. But it's probably going to take you a couple of weeks at least. All right, and I'd be very curious to see how if you run into any problems with the hitbox system that I implemented here. I'm not sure about that, but all right, guys. Yeah, God bless and happy programming.